Welcome to This Week in Mediaocrity, where we present you with all the best and the worst of the media. I'm your host, Joel Foster, and I'm hopelessly addicted to trolling on Breitbart. This week, we saw a Twitter fest by President-elect Donald Trump, who appears to be approaching his presidency like a teenage boy who just broke up with his girlfriend. While we barely heard from Trump in any official capacity, the Donald has been blowing up Twitter, posting an average of 5 posts per day. Trump has indicated that Twitter will be the main vehicle for how he will communicate with the American public. And it makes sense because it's working for him. He doesn't have to leave Trump Tower, doesn't have to surround himself with the media people he hates, doesn't have to field any questions, and he can talk about whatever he wants, from Russian hacking to Israeli settlements to picking fights with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's right, today Trump called out Arnold because the season 1 ratings for The New Apprentice were weak. Trump is looking to expand his cabinet by extending offers to T-1000, Colin Crisp, and of course, Bennett. But best of all, through the use of Twitter, Trump has gotten the media to shower him with credit for being like Geppetto, the puppet master of the American economy. It began earlier this week when House Republicans sought to make changes to the Ethics Oversight Committee, an independent agency that investigates Congress. Republicans sought to take away its independent status and almost got away with it. An initial vote went through, but the next day, Republicans backed down from moving forward. This came on the same day that Trump delivered this tweet. Naturally, the news media jumped on this and connected the two. Trump's tweet had to be why they backed off. Why else would they? Well, it turned out there were a lot of reasons why. The initial House vote was controversial, even among Republicans, and no Democrats would support the measure. Also, the vote was taken before all members of Congress had even returned from the holidays. Representative Leonard Vance, who opposed the measure, still had eggnog breath when he entered the House chambers. And Representative Joe Wilson hadn't even changed out of his Christmas jammies before he was asked to vote on a thing that he'd never even heard of. So there were flaws. Even House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy said that the change would never get enough votes and that the decision was already made before the tweets went out. McCarthy himself didn't support the rule change and also said that the issue was receiving a huge backlash from the public, which is a key point. But that didn't stop virtually every media outlet from trumpeting the Trump factor. The worst part of this is that it should have been an uplifting story. Remember that McCarthy mentioned public backlash. That would mean that we're being listened to, and that could have been the story. Isn't it a much better story than Congress listening to a goblin issue directives from his phone? I think so. But it didn't end there. Oh no. Giving him credit just makes the guy even stronger. Twitter trolling is Trump's spinach, his Triforce, his little flower that for some reason allows him to shoot fireballs. Because the same week, Trump took credit for a decision by Ford to keep its factories in the US and cancel a planned factory in Mexico. CEO Mark Fields explained that it didn't have to do with the tweet, but rather because they don't need to expand in Mexico and will use an existing factory. This comes from a lower demand for smaller cars, particularly the Ford Focus. So there you go. It's because the Ford Focus sucks, which we pretty much already knew, except for Friends star Matt LeBlanc, seen here on the receiving end of an HDH suppository. So it had nothing to do with Trump's tweet, unless Mark Fields now refers to a Trump takedown as a Ford Focus, since they're both unreliable, ugly, and don't run very often. But again, the media gave full credit to Trump. He's now being treated like a kid who thinks he mowed the lawn with his toy lawnmower. And like that child, Trump gets bored quickly and will complain about everything's unfair. But maybe that's the tact we have to take in order to keep his ego fed, to get him to do anything when he does something good. After all, it's great that companies are keeping operations in the US. It's just that the numbers of jobs we're talking about here aren't exactly huge. So maybe our toddler-in-chief just needs a little encouragement. Something like, hey, Donnie, you did a great job with those 500 jobs. Now, can you do it again, but like times 1,000? And maybe he'll get something done. It's a perfect strategy, though, for Trump, his tweeting, because he can take credit for anything just by tweeting about it afterwards. And he can distance himself from anything bad that happens. If anything, Trump's proved that some people can have their cake and eat it too. And judging by Trump's pudge, that boy's been eating a lot of cake. Republican members of Congress defended Trump's Twitter use. They claim that he's able to communicate more clearly with the public without the media distorting his words. The issue, though, is that through using Twitter, he doesn't allow anyone to question him like he would if he were stuck in a hot conference room with cynical, underpaid journalists with pockets full of complimentary rolls and butter. And as for distortions, what keeps the media from distorting a 130-character tweet? Now, most news stories are basically just explanations of his tweets, with each media outlet putting out their own spin on what he was trying to say. He can't clarify his statements because he isn't there. For example, maybe when he writes a tweet like this, he's not weirdly claiming to give singer Jackie Evancho's album sales a boost. Maybe by the movement, he means a subculture of Jackie Evancho fanatics who drink blood and make goat sacrifices. We have no idea because he won't answer. So until he answers that question, watch out for Jackie Evancho fans. All right, that's all for today. Tune in next week when we'll take a look at Israel and check in on Alex Jones, who, judging from every second he's been in front of a camera, is probably screaming about something. Thank you. I'll see you next week.